Hey everybody, this is sort of an addition to my last blog and sort of a slight emergency transmission. So there was a nuclear leak at a plant in Pickering that the local media, the CTV News, is sort of trying to play down. But on CTV they got this story right now that maybe it was because of the earthquake that was felt in Ottawa, but nuclear plant leak in Pickering, and it dumped out what they're saying is distilled water, but more probably is, because there was a leak, radioactive water or radiated water.
And something that you shouldn't be concerned about.
But critics are saying Ontario residents should be concerned. While comparisons to Japan's current nuclear crisis may be overblown, some say we most definitely dodged a bullet.
In this case, there may have been minimal amounts of radioactivity, but that's just by luck.
The leak at the plant was caused by a failed pump seal. 73,000 liters of demineralized water was released.
70,000 liters of demineralized water. That's what they're saying. At the same time, they're saying we shouldn't be worried. But that's what they always say. You know, they always say we shouldn't be worried. You should never be worried. You know, you should just lie down and here's some nails, and just lay down on this cross, and we're going to put this nail here, and don't worry. My point is, this nuclear power plant leak that leaked into Lake Ontario, that's pretty much everybody's drinking water in southern Ontario. So I'm not, I don't have unlimited resources, and I'm not around Pickering, but I would encourage anybody who's watching this to look into this a little bit deeper and to see what's going on. Of course they're not going to tell you the truth. The spokesman for the nuclear power plant isn't going to tell you the truth. The CTV News is not going to tell you the truth. Why would they tell you the truth? Do they want everybody to freak out? Of course not. And this is another thing that I wanted to say earlier, was that what happens in a state of emergency? You know it and I know it. What happens in Katrina? What happens when there's a huge emergency or like a natural disaster? Where do people go? You know it and I know it. Now let's admit it to ourselves. People go to the sports domes, the super domes. The public goes to the FEMA centers, the stadiums. You know it and I know it. That's where the sheep go. That's where we get herded to. Now where does the government go? You know and I know. They go to the underground bunkers. They go to the bases, underground bases all over the continental United States. Under Denver, Colorado's airport. You can go on Google and type underground military bunkers. That's where the government goes. You and I and the common people, we go to the sports stadiums to suck radiated air and to drink radiated water and to eat poisoned food, if we get any food at all, and we go there to die with our families. They'll never tell you the truth. They'll be broadcasting from their underground bunker saying everything's okay, because they don't want you to panic and knock on their doors of the bunker. So that's another thing I wanted to say. They'll cull you right to you. They'll coax you until you're cold, you know. They'll slip you into that hot bathtub and slit your wrists, you know, while you're thinking, oh, it's so nice and warm in here. You know, when people are dying, they'll say, you know, oh, you're surrounded by family and loved ones, and it's all, you know, everything's good and okay, and just slip into that death. You know, that's what the news is there for. You know, to tell you that everything's okay and everything's going to be okay. Some Canadians are questioning the safety of our nuclear reactors after a leak at Pickering nuclear plant this week, even though officials say, who's officials? Who's officials? Like, nobody questions this stuff. Say it caused virtually no risk, but some risk. Like, the whole thing is littered with improper speech, improper writing, in the sake of definitives. So, what's going on at the nuclear power plant in Pickering. I'd like somebody to check that out. Another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is that maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's not, I don't know. But my personal website, adamjosh.com, is not working. Every section on the front. Okay, let's see here. Every section on the front is working. The home page is working. Music section is working. Right? Photos. About. Links. Contact. But you go to the blog section and I get an error code. And it's not just me. I've been asked some friends around the country and in other countries, and I've been told by some friends in other countries that they're coming up with the same error code. I try to log into the password protected interface of my website, and I get the same thing when I try to update the blog or access the blog. I get this error code, and I've emailed my my contacts where my server is, and I've asked them to look into it. And so hopefully it's unrelated. I'm not trying to say that I'm a victim of anything. You know, on my Twitter account, I wrote something like, to that effect though, because I thought it was funny. On my Twitter account, I wrote, save me Julian Assange, save me Al Qaeda, save me George Bush, I'm being hacked. And then I put this picture up and said, you know, luckily we're not seeing this picture, because eventually, you know, every website that doesn't toe the party line, every website that has anything other than mainstream jargon on it is probably going to be seized by the Homeland Security Investigations, or ICE. So I wouldn't, you know, this is the future that we're going into, and internet too is a small part of it, but this is the future that we're heading towards, where protest will be silenced. You know, they say we're not allowing you the opportunity to protest. We don't tolerate protests. Well, that's what we're like it's so crazy. You know, I don't tolerate protests, or governments don't tolerate protests. Well, that's what we're protesting. We're protesting. We don't have to have your permission. You know? That's why you protest. You don't appeal to your accusers when you're protesting. That's been the biggest mistake of my life. One of the biggest mistakes of my life has been appealing to the people who accuse you. You know, when you get arrested or whatever, and they try to charge you falsely with something, and you appeal to them, they send you to an internal investigation, and then you appeal to them, and it takes you a few minutes to realize, or in my case, it took me, you know, about 2 conversations to realize, wait a minute, I'm appealing to my accusers. These people don't care, and all they're trying to do is make themselves look good. What's going on? We're not being told the truth. I know that for sure. And you know, not only that, but when this dust cloud of radiation comes through the jet stream and finally gets to our shores, you best believe that all the crops and everything outside is going to be at risk. And so our entire food supply right now from California and from the west coast of this continent is being put at risk by the cloud coming from Japan. Oh, but that's great plausible deniability for these eugenics-minded bio freaks. You know, they're gonna be like, oh, anything that happens, who's Japan? You know, they want to release a bioweapon or a chemical weapon or do any sort of genetic modifications or bio modifications, plant modifications, or gender-specific bioweapons or anything. Oh, it was Japan. Oh, point the finger at Japan, because that's the accepted thing. And when I was 16, 17, I'll tell you all right now, that's one of the reasons I got these biohazards on my forearms, just because when I was 16, 17 years old, I knew that one day this is what's going to happen. And you can call me crazy all you want, but that makes you sane, I suppose. As a warning, because that's the future. The future is bioweapons. Gender specific or race specific or whatever you want to do. That's the future. They made movies about it, you know, 12 Monkeys or whatever, but it's coming and already has, you know, with the United States, Hillary Clinton apologizing to Guatemalans. Oh, sorry, we infected you with STDs. Sorry, we infected you with STDs on purpose, but, you know, sorry. You know, and that's what, they just continue on those practices with vaccines, and here we go. So you tell me, what's going on right now in Pickering? You expect to get the truth? I don't know. I don't expect to get the truth from the mainstream media. So ask your friends that are around the plant what's going on, and tell all your friends before they, while you still have a chance. Not that the internet's going to be shut down overnight, or even in a year, or 3 years, or 4 years. Who knows? I'm the crazy one, though. I'm the crazy one for talking like this, for having any sort of factual information. I'm the crazy one. That's all I wanted to say.